Welcome, everybody. John Zager, johnzager.com. How's everybody doing today? Good? Good. Clear day on the eastern slope. Had my first cup of coffee. I just left the gym. And, oh boy, they left it nice and full. Oh, am I anxious to have my coffee. So, this morning, we're continuing on with neuroscience conversation around healing. That's kind of the direction I'm going this morning. Let me just adjust this here real quick. Sorry. Don't mean to get everything done. Let me grab a sip of this. Oh boy, that's good too. So healing, neuroscience. Neuroscience has a lot to do with your brain and your nervous system, right? Your brain and your body, your brain and your heart. So what goes on in your head has a direct link to your body, right? Has a direct link to your nervous system. And one communicates with the other. They both communicate with each other. So a person that's having thoughts, there's your brain, there's your thinking. And let's say they're negative thoughts, thoughts that are unhealthy about yourself, about the person across from you, about other people in general, and you talk in a detrimental fashion about other people. That's negative thinking. Sometimes it's important to pick and choose who we hang out with, because that influences our outcome, how we get along in life, right? So it's not uncommon that a time or two here and there you're going to suggest to yourself that it's probably not in my best interest to spend a lot more time with him because he seems to have a negative attitude towards people. And I'm not sure that that's a good influence on me, so I'm going to probably back off. That's kind of negative thought about that individual, but it also is a thought that might be productive for you in not making the wrong turn in your road, right? Likewise, people have positive thoughts, positive thinking, in their heads, in their brains about themselves and about other people. Well, that person really does a good job in social situations, and I struggle a little bit with that. That's a positive thought about another person. It's an observation you made. And that goes into the nervous system. If it's a negative thought, then obviously it's going to be felt by your body, right? You're going to feel a little uncomfortable around that individual if you're not saying things to yourself positive about that individual. We've all been in those situations. We create them. That's things that we create. So what's an example? Let's give an example. So there's a girl. I don't. Well, I guess I know her. I've met her once or twice, and had conversation with her, and she seemed, pretty intelligent and kind of goal directed with her life and what she wanted to do and how she wanted to go about doing it, and had suggested that maybe we could get together based on my understanding of psychology, and we could have an interaction or input from each other regarding this, that, and the other thing about what she needs as a result of what's happened to her. The result of that, months later, was that she never took the initiative to follow through with that. And it's always been very uncomfortable when she's in the same space, because I don't have a real positive outlook towards her. I don't feel that she's a person I necessarily would want to spend a lot of time with or even have another conversation with, because she doesn't follow through. And it all might have been just jabber on her part the one or two times I talked to her. And obviously she must feel the same way, I'm supposing, because she clearly tries to avoid any interaction with me as well. That's kind of situation where we're having thoughts in our head, some positive, some negative, about other people, and that directly affects a lot of things on the planet. If enough people, we have 8 billion people on Earth, and if they all have, I don't know, science says 80% of your thinking is negative. It's called collective consciousness, and that's going to have an impact on people that are possibly newly diagnosed with some kind of disease or illness or sickness, because they didn't do it to themselves, and it doesn't come on as a result of genetics. So we have to be careful what we think. We have to be really, really careful about what we think. If we're thinking negative stuff about yourself or others, or I guess for that matter, situations even, if all you're focusing on is negative, then that can be a cause for you to upregulate diseased genes into your life or the life of someone else. Right? The opposite is true. If you're having positive thoughts, of course, then there's a greater chance that you will not upregulate disease genes, and you should stay pretty healthy physically, mentally, and spiritually. Or it can go out into the environment with other people, and it can actually boost immune systems for people that maybe are struggling a little bit. It's a positive thing for them. So when our brain and our thoughts get negative, which is more often than they get positive, that goes to our nervous system, and likewise it affects the way that we interact and relate to different various people that we encounter. It has a direct impact. Sometimes what happens is that you're joking with a friend or just kind of teasing back and forth the good and the bad and the ugly. And sometimes the other person on the opposite side doesn't know if you're joking or not. And in turn, that can have an impact on both you individually as well as the other person. And it affects that relationship. You get that a little bit? There's people that acquire a sickness, ill health, disease, whatever have you, and they got it, just as I just spoke about, through their thoughts and the thoughts of others that are negative, that cause an upregulating of negative disease genes into their lives. And then Newtonian medicine, physics, says you need to do this, that, and the other thing. And for the most part, we're aware that Newtonian physics is good at trauma, but not at long-term terminal illnesses. And then what do you do? How does that work? You might be from a program being brought up to understand that all sickness and ill health is a result of genetics, which it absolutely is not. So to follow Newtonian medicine when you have a terminal sickness of some kind is going to be detrimental for you and not in your best interest to follow the regime that the doctors are prescribing for you, right? So what happens is, in neuroscience, is that the first step you might want to take is trying to catch the negative thoughts. Now, that's a big chore. That's a big issue. That's a problem, because you have 65 to 70,000 thoughts a day. 85% of those thoughts are negative. So you're just not going to catch every one of them. The only thing you can do is try to catch as many as you can and stop them from happening. And it'll take a while. You know, it's not going to happen in a few hours or a day or days or weeks. It might take a few months to get better and better at knowing when you're headed down that road of negative thinking. Neuroscience gives you a little cheat sheet so you can tell when you're there, when you're having positive thoughts, when you're having negative thoughts. It can do that. And the way that works is through feelings. So if you feel pretty good about life, yourself, what's going on, generally speaking, you're probably not having negative thoughts. If you feel depressed, angry, upset, irritable, things of that nature that are kind of on the negative side of feelings, that's an indication that you're having negative thoughts. So instead of trying to get 80%, 85% of 70,000 thoughts identified, just think in terms of how you're feeling. And if you're feeling negative, you're having negative thoughts. If you're feeling positive about life and yourself, you're probably having positive thoughts. Decides whether you need to stop and change your thinking or not. Will help you stop possibly upregulating negative genes, disease genes. Might even help you start upregulating positive genes, stronger genes for your immunity. More positive things can occur at that point. If you can pick up on feeling good, then you're probably going to start upregulating positive thoughts of one kind or another. When that happens, it's like learning a sport. You get better. You get better and better at doing it, identifying it, stopping it quicker, that sort of thing. Here's an example. I don't know, 3 days ago, I guess, I was out doing some work for somebody, and the person I was doing the work for shortchanged me, money-wise. There's a bill. You need to pay it. Don't have it. Not going to pay it. I'm out of here. See you. Bye. And made me think negative thoughts, which was not good for me or for him, because it was also transferring over to him. And I'm sure he left not feeling totally well or good about himself or positive, and was more likely to become ill. Likewise, same thing could have happened to me. I could have just stuck on that negative part, and the same effects that were going on with him could have happened to me. I didn't. What I said was, I'm going to stop it right here, right now, accept the fact that I got paid practically nothing, and I could have escalated it into a greater negative, or I could have stopped it at that point and turned everything around into a positive. I am appreciative, grateful, thankful that I got what I got. And I look forward to the opportunity of having another job, likewise, that could produce some income, even though it may not be the amount I might ask. That's how I turned mine around. The second thing I did was I remembered what it felt like when I got the full amount from another person on a different day and different time. And I reflected on seeing myself in that situation, saying how much money the service will cost, and watching and listening and feeling that individual, pay the bill. And as the money went into my hand, it created a feeling of abundance, and I felt real good about, this is going to keep me eating, sleeping, paying my bills here, there, and everywhere. And I'm happy that I was able to provide the service and get paid. And so I made it even more of a positive. And that in turn affected my immune system, upregulating stronger genes so that I'm healthier and not headed towards ill health. And I'm sure and would conclude that probably that individual left feeling the same way, in a more positive state of mind. They talk about, in neuroscience, state of being. And I guess that's what I'm talking about here, is state of being is how you think and feel. If there's anything you want to focus on, put your energy on, in trying to change your biology or your chemistry more quickly, it would be paying attention to your state of being. How are you thinking and how are you feeling all the time? All the time. It'll come to you to where you just know where your thoughts and your feelings are at any given moment. Today at the gym, I was talking to a friend of mine, and we kind of kid around back and forth with each other. But for the most part, I really like him, he likes me, and, we're friends, and we try to encourage and help each other out in all aspects of our lives. It's just guys hanging out and giving advice to each other. And I always know when I'm having that conversation with him about whatever, that I know where my state of being is. I know how I'm feeling and what I'm thinking as I'm talking. That's the takeaway. So there's a my gosh, there's a lot more to talk about in this subject. But for right now, I think I'm going to leave it at that. Meditate on your state of being. Get so familiar with how you're thinking and feeling that at any given moment you can identify that. And in turn, you're going to be able to redirect into a healthier state of being without the sickness, ill health, and disease. God bless everybody. Take care of one another, and I'll look forward to talking to you all again real soon. Thanks a lot. See you. Bye.